The cinema experience, for the most part that is a relaxing and escaping one, for as long as you know what to do and not do when conducting yourself there. Black Panther Wakanda Forever, which I already reviewed in this episode of the Cinema Courtroom podcast, was just released a few days back, and as such, tentpole movies like Black Panther tend to reciprocate a large crowd. If you happen to be a part of such a heavy movie-going crowd, then let's talk about three things to do and not to do when going to the cinema. And I'm totally not going to sound patronizing while I talk about all of that jazz. The first thing that you should always do when going to the cinema, if you can, is to book your screening in advance. Because when it comes to most theatrical chains in most regions, we're no longer living in a day and age where you have to line up to get the best seats in person. For a new blockbuster like Avengers Endgame or Black Panther Wakanda Forever, it is imperative to book your screening ahead of time because of this blunt reality. Your movie experience depends on your organization and booking everything in advance. Pure and simple. The second thing that you should do when going to the cinema is, and that's just my humble opinion, buy at least one snack. Now, call me a concerned and self-aware moviegoer, but theaters make a 1,275% markup on candy and popcorn. More than half of the ticket revenue goes directly to the studio. Any tickets that you might buy to watch Black Panther Wakanda Forever, that goes to Disney. And other expenses that have to be accommodated, such as, the syrup that the theater would need to utilize to enhance their candy. By buying at least a small popcorn, you're not only going to not starve in the middle of the movie, but it kind of solidifies the theatrical experience. Because I don't know, guys, like, when I think about the cinema, I just think of popcorn in my mind, and the big screen, and, the place where you can just rest your popcorn and then eat it while watching the movie. It's also, like, a hilarious way of measuring your self-restraint. Are you or are you not going to finish your popcorn before the movie even begins? I mean, who knows? That is such a philosophical question. The answer to that varies on how one is addicted to popcorn. The third thing you should do in the cinema is bring a person with you. Like, if you can. It can be a family member, a friend, a date for Valentine's Day. Because I've noticed that most people who watch a movie by themselves, they leave the theater just as they're about to talk about the movie, and then they realize that, oh, well, there's no one but me leaving the theater. Like, as for me, I think that I'd rather take it or leave it when it comes to bringing someone with me to the cinema. Sometimes, when I just need a break from everything and everyone, sitting in a movie theater by yourself is a good distraction. But other than that, just like it is when you're buying snacks, you're also helping the cinema because you're buying another ticket, and then more of that percentage, however less that it is, goes to the cinema chain. Alright, so just to recap the things you should do when going to the cinema. First, book your screening in advance. 2, buy at least one snack. And 3, bring someone with you, if that is possible. Or if you don't want to take a break from everyone or anything. Let's move on to things that you shouldn't do. The first thing being making unnecessary sounds. Guys, I cannot stress enough the need to shut up when other people are enjoying the damn movie. If you're in a cinema with me, and I know it happens, but if you're talking too loud on the phone, laughing at the serious scene, I've had that with Top Gun Maverick when Iceman appeared. Like, I saw some kids laughing down the aisle, and I was like, oi, shut up. Like, spoiling the movie if you're watching it for the second time by yourself, or with someone who has stumbled upon the misfortune of watching the movie with you. Please don't be offended if I tell you to shut up. Like, I paid for my ticket just as you did, and because you're also here, and because you bought a ticket. Don't ruin the movie for yourself, and don't ruin it for others. And only laugh for like a few seconds if the movie isn't a comedy. Like, if the scene genuinely makes you laugh, or if it resonates with your sense of humor, laugh away. But don't start laughing like a demented witch on crack while snorting your chocolate milk for the rest of the movie, or you will be asked to keep quiet. I paid to hear the movie. I did not, however, pay to listen to you. Take your crying infants, do your breakups, making out, phone calls, do all of that somewhere else. Not in the cinema. The second thing that you should refrain from doing when going to the cinema is, and it should honestly go without saying, but sometimes all of us need a little reminding. Being rude to the cleaners and staff, who are actively trying to enhance your theatrical experience. It's one thing to be upset at service that's not up to snuff, like, you have the right to be angry at that as a paying customer. For a matter of fact, when I reviewed Wakanda Forever, I conversed in length about how idiotic the theatrical experience for the movie was, because the 3D projector was malfunctioning, and there was no solid excuse to back that up. But it's one thing to, give criticism or make a complaint about something that's a real issue. But it's a whole nother thing to berate a worker for something that they're already being underpaid to do anyway. They don't owe you what is above their pay grade. So, just take it up with the manager, but at the same time, don't be a Karen. Because I know, some of you might be thinking, wait, doesn't, taking it up with the manager make me a Karen? No, not if you're doing it politely. Because I know that you're better than this, ladies and gentlemen. And if you're eating your snack, pick up the box and take it with you. I'm not saying that you should scrubby the floors for them, because the cleaners are still commissioned to do their job at the end of the day, but it should still be in everyone's best interest to make their jobs easier for them and time efficient, because then they won't have to pick up your popcorn. You're the one that picked up the box, and you can just throw it on your way out, because I'm sure there's a trash can outside of the screening area. The third thing, and this is something that if you actually do, then you're pretty much requesting me or someone who wants to enjoy the movie without spoilers to get punched in the face. That's right, spoiling the movie on your way out. Don't do that. When Avengers Endgame was released in cinemas worldwide, part of the reason, other than the substantial level of anticipation and hype for a tentpole movie, part of the reason that all screenings for the first 7 days were pre-booked in advance was because people did whatever it took to dodge spoilers. And let's be real, you probably wouldn't hesitate to sacrifice your left ass cheek if it meant you weren't going to hear a spoiler. Chances are, you were one of those people who wore noise-canceling earmuffs or covered your ears every time someone said the letter A. La 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 la, I can't hear you, leave me alone. Or you would sprint if you saw anyone on the street, because you know that they might shout a spoiler. So anyway, you're at the theater with your ticket, and you're just about to watch Avengers Endgame. Some pathetic individual starts to talk about how it ends, just as they're striding past you, because, I don't know, maybe they're the only people on the planet who are going to watch Avengers Endgame. It's not like other people booked their showing after them. They're the only people, right? I mean, so they can be inconsiderate all they want. My point is, don't spoil the movie on your way out, because that is an asshole thing to do. And that, ladies and gentlemen, are the list of the 6 things that you should and should not do when viewing a picture in the cinema, in order to preserve the wonderful theatrical experience.